When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
All right, hello YouTube. Welcome back to the Grease Comedy YouTube channel. Today's video, we are going to be discussing, is Loras actually dying? Or did he get injured at all in the taking of Dragonstone? Now, for you guys that have been on this channel for a while, or if you've watched some of my older videos, you may know I was not a big fan of this theory to begin with. And I think I've become a little bit more 50-50 on it, just looking at the evidence. And so in this video, we're going to kind of go through some of the evidence for, some of the evidence against, and by the end of it, hopefully you may have a decision on Loras's fate. Me, I still feel pretty 50-50. It wouldn't shock me either way. But before we get into the video, if you guys like A Song of Ice and Fire or want to learn more about this world, consider subscribing, and let's get into the video. So, I think the whole issue with Loras's apparent injuries is there's just a lot of question marks, a lot of unreliable sources, a lot of, okay, why is it not being told to this character? Why is it not as known to the world, but it is really known to Cersei? So let's go through it. So the first thing we need to talk about here is the source of which Cersei gets this information that Loras has been severely hurt. It comes from Orain Waters, who you may know as the guy who took all of her ships and left. So his loyalty to her kind of seems not great. Two, I just don't trust Orain Waters. He could have just fabricated this story. Given the sheer amount of injuries and or how it seems like Orain hyped up this story and made it way more entertaining for Cersei because he knew she would enjoy it than it would appear. Apparently he took like a couple quarrels to his shoulders and there was boiling oil poured on him. It seems really intense. And so it leads me to kind of doubt it a bit. Now, it could be true. Again, we're going to talk about that in the kind of the back section of this video, kind of the evidence against it, but it seems really odd to me. Now, the next kind of evidence is that any other faction that seems to be talking about the events going on in Westeros don't mention Dragonstone falling. Stannis' camp knows no information about anything with Dragonstone, which is kind of weird because if they lost Dragonstone, that would be a massive blow to them, but they don't know anything. Maybe it because it's news just travels slower in the north, which is always true. But then also we see that in the Vale, when Sansa is being told about all of these events, like Riverrun, their siege falling, Dragonstone apparently hasn't fallen yet. We're told that it will fall, and the same with like Storm's End, but it hasn't yet. Well, okay, that's kind of weird. The Vale isn't that far away from Dragonstone. You think they would know this information. So, is George giving us all the reasons to believe, wait a minute, Dragonstone didn't actually fall this way? And even if it did, why would Loras want his injury to be told to people? Is it a fake? What could Loras have maybe found within Dragonstone? Because apparently Mace Tyrell says they didn't find anything. I find that a little hard to believe. Now, I know Stannis, again, was in a dire state. He would have sold off a lot of things, but I also think it's possible that the Tyrells could have found some things that they didn't want the crown knowing. Now, even in this given situation that, let's say, the crown forces actually did fully engage Dragonstone and lose 1,000 men, well, that's significant because that weakens the crown quite a lot. These were not Tyrell men. This is kind of the crown's forces. Losing 1,000 men is a big blow to Cersei. And so all this kind of plays on this idea that, again, the Tyrells are not completely loyal to the Lannisters. And that's something we've seen already at this point. Now, where I would question this is a bit is that the Tyrells, and Mace Tyrell specifically, is being gifted a lot of power by Kevin Lannister at the end of the Dance of the Dragons, at the end of the story so far that we've gotten. it doesn't really seem like the Tyrells are going against the Lannisters. Now, I think that's going to happen once again because of, again, Cersei taking power. But at this point of the story, it does seem a little odd. Like, why have Loras be almost dead at this point? Why lie about that? Marjorie does seem extremely upset about it. So maybe she isn't in the loop, or maybe she's doing a great acting performance. There's a lot of questions that I have here. Is Aurane and the Tyrells kind of in league? Maybe this is a situation to kind of cover it up, saying, oh, we didn't take Dragonstone, but we're saying we did so that Loras can enact his real plan, which he wanted to free up the Redwyne fleet to take back the shields. That seems like a logical plan, but at the same time, you can't say that Dragonstone's not been, or has been taken forever, right? People go through the Blackwater and we'll see Dragonstone's not taken pretty quickly. So, what's up with that? Are the Redwynes just sieging Dragonstone, and Loras is just going to try and help in the Reach because his home is basically being invaded? Possibly. This is the whole problem, I think, with the Dragonstone siege plot, is there's so many question marks. We have no reliable sources into anything that happened there. It's not a world event, so other places in the world cannot confirm that it actually happened, or have even gotten the rumor that it happened. There's just a lot of things we don't know. And even you would think that if Loras was in such a bad state that Mace and maybe Marjorie would even go see Loras where he's injured. And that's not really the case. And I feel like, especially from someone like Mace Tyrell, that he would be much more up in arms if Loras was actually this badly hurt and was going to die. But he doesn't. He seems almost unfazed by it. Could this be because, well, Loras died in war? He died in combat. There's nothing, he can do, even though it was obviously Cersei putting him up to do this. There's a lot of suspicion there. But let's look at maybe some of the other arguments here that we look at for why Loras actually may be in a bad situation, maybe dying or dead. The first one would be, I think it has been foreshadowed that Loras is someone that is very gung-ho. He is someone that rushes into action. If we go back to the first book, I think one of the best key evidences to maybe support this would be when Ned is trying to figure out who is going to bring the mountain basically to justice after he's invaded. The Riverlands taking this raiding force. Loras Tyrell is someone instantly that wants to step up to lead this force, and Ned is someone that shoots him down, and as Beric end up doing it. So that is something that, again, is actually very similar, because what the outcome is that Beric gets ambushed and ends up dying, but he again comes back. That was what Loras's fate would have been, given that the situation was him in charge. Very similar to what ends up happening at Dragonstone, given that these events are even semi-correct. So there is that, right? Even Jaime Lannister notes this exact qualities within Loras himself. And so again, the last piece that I will kind of reference here is what I talked about before, right? Is that how would this work? People would know it's a lie fairly quickly. Dragonstone is not some isolated place. People are going to go past it quite a lot with shipping and trading. So you can't have this lie go on forever. Eventually, people are going to figure it out pretty quickly. And then what do? Right now, you've openly lied to Cersei and the Crown and made the alliance even worse. It seems like a very bad plan in retrospect. Now, I will say, those events did prompt Cersei to now go after Marjorie, which led to her downfall, but I don't know if Loras would have predicted that or even have wanted that to happen, because then, with Loras out of the way, if that was the intention, it let Marjorie get put into position to question everything about her, right? Her innocence, things like that. That image that's very important to the Tyrells. So I'm just very unclear, because I think both sides have interesting arguments, and I can see both being true. I personally, if I'm maybe 51%, 49% on the side that Loras is in a bad situation, or is hurt really bad, But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your guys' arguments on how you would present your argument for either side. Maybe sway me a little bit. Talk about some of the information maybe I didn't even cover in this video. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching today's video. And I hope to see you guys all in the next video or live stream. Bye, guys.